All right, welcome to part two. The last episode was a bit of a doozy, but now that we're settled and rested and ready for the next one, we can go ahead and start pacing out these graphics. And this can be, a bit of a struggle. It took me a while to figure it out, but that's why we're here. So what we're going to do is just import a plane, and then what we're gonna scale it to be 16 by 9. So 16 by 9, and obviously that's huge. So we're just going to I'm gonna hit RX 90, and then I'm gonna hit S and scale it down. And that is our screen. And then now we're ready to place the videos. So I'm going to go here to shading. I'm going to click new, and we need to do a little bit of setup. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to delete this. Actually, we're going to go ahead and do side window. This might be easier, depending. All right. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to go ahead and also get my timeline. There we go. 120 frames. We're good. So let's get in a mix shader. We're going to get a transparent BSDF and does that say translucent? No. Okay. And then an emission. Very important is that emission. So let's plug him here. We need to get our color ramp. Plug it here. I'm gonna hit Control T to get that image texture set up and that UV. Hopefully it's UV'd. Hopefully it's unwrapped properly, but we will see. Let's go ahead and open up. So open up the folder if you're following along with me with all three of your assets, and we're just gonna go and grab this first one, 2 block chunks 299. We'll tell it frames, there's 299 frames here, and auto refresh. And then I don't know, will it work? Do we need to flip the color ramp? Okay, so since Material Preview uses the Eevee render engine, I've been told it doesn't sometimes. I don't believe them. I believe this. So, here's the proof. So switch over to the Eevee render engine really quick, and then click on the material, scroll down and go blend mode to alpha blend. That'll make it work, and then we can go back to cycles to work with it. We had to kind of fix that there. And then I'll flip the color ramp. So start frame is 1, and if we play it, there it is. There's our graphic. We're going to bring the emission strength up. We'll make it a nice green. And again, if you want it to glow, you can go back to Eevee Bloom so you can have a glow. But we're going to be rendering in cycles, so this is here. But we'll go back to preview it here. So here it is. It's animating. So let's go ahead and get our camera and figure out where do we want to place this so that animation starts at frame 1. So he starts there. But I want to have a little breathing room. I'm going to move it back. And it does that, which that's pretty good pace. But let me show you guys. Let's bring him down. So bring him down. I'm going to hit Shift D. Bring this up, and then I'm going to go ahead, rotate it. So now it does that. And then once we get right here, actually, let's move them a little farther back and make them bigger. And then we'll bring our camera, make our camera look up. So now that they're there, I want to animate them out. So I'm going to click on one, go back to shading, and let's pick where we want them to animate. So right about here, we can animate them out. So what we'll do is we'll get another mix shader. We'll plug the transparent here. We're going to get a color ramp. So just reusing stuff. Let's get in a Voronoi. And then we'll just plug this mapping here, and we're going to use color. Plug that there. In this case, we're going to use constant, and that's how you animate them in and out. What I'm going to do is bring the random down so it creates these squares. And you can see it's not, that's fine. What we could do if we want them to be perfectly square, it's just get it to its own mapping setup. And then using object. Well, they're all stretched. And that's because of, probably I need to apply scale. What happens if I do that? I don't want to do that. Okay, maybe I do. We'll just apply scale on both. So go ahead and Control A, apply scale, click on this guy, Control A, apply. Control A, apply. So you can apply scale on both and get them square. But regardless, this is what we're dealing with. And then this is, then you can just animate in and out like that. So let's animate them in. In fact, I'm going to flip this color ramp because it's backwards. Okay. So we'll start it like that. And then I'm going to hit I. And then once we get to here, I want to see them gone. So we'll go all the way to the end. I. And then, cool. It's not very graceful. It's very quick. I would make that slower, maybe paste things around. And then right here is when the next one will show up. So let's go ahead and get that ready. So I'm going to take this guy here. I'm going to hit Shift D, drag him down the line. And then we'll go back to shading. And I'm going to go ahead right up here where it says 3, click that. So now we don't have a duplicate, and I'm just going to turn off. So now we can see this. So let's go back and replace this where it says 2 block chunks. I'm going to click that number 3 and click on all of the word 1, this one. And then we're going to make it auto refresh frames. I guess it had 299. Yeah, okay, we're good. Now you'll notice something. It animated there, right? I don't want it to start there. I want it to start much later in the animation. And this is when having that first frame being blank is really, really important. So let me decide when I want it to start. So we're starting, I want it to start here. So where it's a start frame, we're at frame 30. So let's say start animating at 28. Cool. And I want to start to see it right now. So we'll just start clicking back till we start to see it right there. Cool. That looks nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and make it bigger, bring it up. And then definitely bring it back. I want it to be big and grand. Nice. Okay, cool. And possibly even bring it back farther. And then you can duplicate it like this. Cool. Nice. So that's why that gives you that control there. So shading. Okay, we're back to shading. So now we can animate it out the same exact way. Like this. Now, here's a cool trick. Cool motion designer tip to make it look awesome. These are coming up like this. I want that foreground. So if you watch the original video, there was a foreground. I animated a second one right in front of the camera. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So that's a good spot. Maybe bring it back a little bit. So he goes right through it. And they animate nicely. That's actually really good placement, but I'm going to bring it to here. There we go. And you notice how you can kind of see the pixels? That is going to, the motion blur is going to basically hide that. So don't worry about that. In the original one, I had to kind of control when it animated in. So make this one start before this one starts if you don't like the pacing of it. But you definitely don't want it to be the same. In this case, I got lucky, but you can do that. Now let's go ahead and animate out. So start animating it out right there. So let's go ahead and plug this guy back here. I'm going to go ahead and clear the keyframes and bring him back. And then let's make these a bit more blocky. There we go. So we'll start here And right about here, I want it gone. There we go. So let's see how that looks. Cool. Nice. All right. So that looks awesome. And then now the last thing to implement is those blocks. So again, I'm going to duplicate this, go back to shading right up here, click that 4 so it's a new one, and let's implement the next piece. So we're going to click that number 3, click on that, and go here. So now we have this. This guy needs to be much smaller. What I'm going to do is get an array. So we have 2, and then bring him in. And then make sure he's right in the center. And then maybe bring it down. Nice. All right. And then we'll array it again. Let's add in another array. The beauty of the array. I don't use arrays that much, but in this case, we're not introducing sort of bad geometry. Oh no, is it going to be mean to me? I can't bring it out this direction. The original one, yeah, it's going to be mean to me. Unless there's a way to do it. So I can bring it out that way. And I can bring it up and down. But I can't bring it front and backwards because of, I guess, because it's flat. I don't know. All right, well, then we'll just do it the way I did, which was Alt-D, a whole row of these guys. And it doesn't have to be perfect, so that's okay. Okay, and then they need to come forward. When does he stop? Right there. Okay. Oh, well, I would pace it differently. We'll just animate these guys in. So we'll just bring them. Let's see, select them all. I want the camera to go right through them. So we'll do something like this. That's sad. We might have to animate the camera farther. So let's do that. I'm going to do that. You don't have to do it. But we're going to take the camera. Because he stops here, I would actually stop him here, which is going to mess up the whole pace. So I'm just going to leave it. You guys kind of get the idea in terms of how this works. So I'll show you how to animate in these dudes. So right when it stops, we'll animate in these guys. So we'll go back to shading. Make sure you click on those. We'll bring this here, clear keyframes. And in this case, I want it to be not random and then make them really big. So they go pop, 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 like really blocky. It makes them just, I think it just looks so awesome. We'll animate them in like that manually. Cool. Insert keyframe. Insert keyframe. Cool. I'm hitting I. Cool. And then we'll just animate them out so that it's a seamless loop. Even though this is not the best scenario, it is what it is. And that's just, we're kind of running and gunning. So we'll hit I again and then have them animated out here. It's going to be quick. I would, change things later, but you get the idea. I mean, the animation is definitely tighter now, but it is a seamless loop. Cool. All right, now we can move into, this is how it looks in cycles. That's wonky, but that's okay. Let me see this. Because of the angle. I think we need to bring up samples. So our samples here in our light paths, bring that transparent up to like 20, that total 20. And then this guy just, We can move it like that. Okay, that'll fix it. So this is how it's looking in cycles. We need to add volume and a light. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and add in our light. In this case, it's going to be an area light. We'll hit G, and then we'll hit R twice. And then he's going to be moved over there. So that's going to be the Z. Oh my gosh. I never know. There we go. Okay. So scale it up. And then we'll go here and make it a disk. 1,000. Then make it slightly blue. And then even 1,000 is pretty low. So we'll do 50,000. All right, there we go. Now we have some light going. And then keep it out of the view of the camera. That's pretty important. Bring your world brightness to black. We're going to go ahead and add volume. So a principled volume. There we go. And then now we can see this. We do need to parent the light to the camera. So hold down Control, click on the light, the area light right up here. Click on camera, Control P, object. And now that light is going to follow us wherever we may go. And you can see we're still having that issue here, and that's because I used an array, so I did kind of screw myself originally what I did. And we'll just do it, we'll fix it. I'll show you guys how I fix things. We'll turn off the array. We'll go to Eevee here. We need to take the array off of all of them. And then we'll just duplicate them to the side. So this is a very easy fix. Okay. And then we will hit Alt-D, move them here. And then of course, because of the problem, just bring them back a little bit so they don't intersect. And that will keep it alive. So now in cycles, we can see them properly. Okay, that was a quick and easy fix. This is probably my favorite frame. This looks so cool. There we go. This is it. Let's just go ahead and render this frame and see how it looks. All right, so this is that final frame. I'm gonna go ahead. You can see how that's low poly. You can add a subdivision surface modifier to that to fix that, but we are done. To export this, we'll go ahead and click on the printer icon. We're gonna go from PNG, keep it at PNG, honestly. If you don't wanna do that, go ahead to FFmpeg video, encoding MP4, medium quality to perceptually lossless, and then go ahead and pick a save location and then export that puppy out. And that's how I created this one. This one was definitely a lot more hefty, but it's a really cool one. Again, you can use this for any of your client work, any of your projects, apply this to other things. But that is it. That's the step-by-step. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned some cool stuff. I love this animation. But with that being said, I will see you in the next tutorial.